all right. Fuck, my stomach is hurting. I just want to say real quick, I made a minor mistake. I had to drink my Boost with high protein cafe mocha. I just made. I want to before I start. I want to say I made a quick minor mistake right here. I had a stop limit order that was ranging from 40.30 to 39.30. So I had a whole dollar. I didn't mean to do this, but I ended up covering with a spread of on my stop limit order of a dollar, and it ended up covering instead of covering at 39.30, it covered at 39.61, and I was up $1,700. Ended up giving back 200 or over 200 because of that that wide stop limit that I had. I didn't mean to. I just had my stop limit here, and I kept bringing it down, down, down. And then I just changed it to where I wanted to get out at, and it ended up giving me a higher exit. But I'm glad that I'm out now because it's starting to bounce. Um, and I was waiting for it to break past this point right here, which is at 39.21 to cover. And yeah. So going back into how I traded the stock today, let me turn on my triangle to show where I got in and out. This is going to be a fast one. I'm going to try to explain this very fast so that I do have stuff I need to do. I got to go to work. Still have a job, but I'm almost sooner or later I'll be not having to have a job. But here it is. So I traded this stock yesterday. Um, I made a video about it as well. I haven't posted it yet, but I shorted this stock. I think near the highs or something like that, and um, made about 650. I had horrible discipline with the stock, but I was able to come up on top by getting back to focus. But today, um, I had horrible discipline as well, as you can see here. I shorted um, 300 shares right here. I was really trying to short high a day when the market opened, but uh, my mind wasn't ready. I woke up 15 minutes prior to the market open, which is bad. Um, but I was still wasn't in the right mindset, and I was busy focusing on different stocks or looking at different stocks. Not only that, but uh, this wasn't my strategy. It was still green on the day, um, but it's a choppy stock. I knew in my head it was a choppy stock, so it might be up. It might uptrend in and out of red to green, green to red. So I wanted to short right here. I didn't. Then I tried to short on a bounce, chased it a little bit. It went up on me, and then it came down. I was up $300 right here. I didn't take it. I was challenging this lower day right here at 43 or 41.76. I challenged it. It went to 41.78. It did not go under 76, 41.76, and it did not break under it. Or not only did it not break under it, it didn't go under it by 15 cents or more. So it squeezed up on me. I didn't recognize that it was time to cover, and it just squeezed up on me. And I was like, "Fuck!" It hit my entry. It hit over my risk, um, and I was just all my rules and all my discipline was out the window at this point. Um, but I had to get back to focus and and come to a strong conclusion. And based off of the way I traded it yesterday, I had to think. Yesterday it would hit near its highs and then come crashing down. So I had to think to myself, I'm like, okay, the realistic after it passed this point, I said the most realistic point to risk off of would be high day, which is right here at 44.84. And it got there, got near it, 44.76, 44.76, and then it looked to me like it wasn't. I was down like almost, like probably like $200-300. I added another 200 shares, knowing that I shouldn't have because um, you don't add on to a loser. But I did it anyway because I'm like, man, if I don't get this, I was like, man, if I don't get this right, I'm fucked. But I'm like, if I'm correct on based off of what I was watching yesterday, it will fade. And I added it, and I'm like, okay, this is either going to be a $500 loss or it could be a possible big gain. So I entered my stop limit order at 44.90, and I'm like, okay, either I'm going to give back all my gains yesterday or make a large profit today. And that's the wrong mindset to be trading like this, because you don't want to risk all your gains. You don't want to risk like that. You don't want every trade to be like that. But unfortunately, this is the habit that I'm dealing with, and I'm trying to break out of it. And I need to make smarter trades, and I need to stop chasing. Another thing that I had an issue with was the time frame. Uh, what's his name? Tim Bowen has his 9:45 dip and rip thing. Um, so if you look at the time here, 9:45 it dipped, or between that area of time, it dipped after 9:45. It dipped and it ripped. As you can see here, here's the dip, here's the rip. I that idea is still fresh in my mind. I'm still getting used to it, but it's exactly what he said. Don't trade until after 9:45 or until you see a dip and rip. Um, from what he does it for longing, I'm like, okay, if I'm a short seller, I need to wait for that dip and rip to happen, then short. If the opportunity presents itself, and it looks like a good short. I didn't, but I had to add after the dip and rip, and I was in $500 at I think like 43, um, 50 or 59. That was my average. It was consolidating, and then it started coming down, down, down. Then I got to broke even, and then it kept downtrending, 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 and I covered it here at 41.37. Ended up making $1,060 profit. Um, I made that profit, and then it continued to downtrend. I wasn't upset with myself or looking down at myself like, damn, I could have made more money. I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, I could have made more money, but I'm glad I'm out with $1,000 trade. I'm thinking to myself, Ronald Randall, or I forgot his name. Let me look it up real quick. But he's a psychology trader. He talks a lot about psychology. But he is like, after you win, you start thinking about all the possible, all the big gains, the future you can have. You go through these different kind of emotions. Randall Howell. I started after I made this $1,000, and I'm like, damn, I could have made more. In my mind, I started thinking, okay, sooner or later I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna have a nice car, a nice house. Um, I'm gonna have uh, I'm gonna have like everything that I wanted in life. But I'm like, those are emotions, and that's gonna mess me up for the future because Rondell Howell says he did a whole video explaining this, and he's like, that's only gonna mess you up into the future trade. So you have to get that out of your mind of you're gonna be very successful. You're gonna be able to buy the house, the car, everything you ever wanted. So all through this, I'm thinking that, and I'm like forcing that out of my mind, forcing that out of my mind. I also did went to the bank and I bought some Dogecoin right here. I bought it at 20 cents. I bought 1,000 at 20 cents. It's up. You see it now. It went up to 45 today. Um, Not only that, I put another 20 bucks in there, 40 bucks in there. But this is my long-term hold. I don't really fuck with cryptocurrency, but I do see the trends, and I'm riding it until I'm ready to get out, or until it tells me to get out. But as I'm at the bank, I'm letting this do its thing. By the time I get back from the bank, it's exactly where I want it to be. It was like right here, and it was showing bounce. It was showing that it was going to uptrend. Um, when it was like around here, I was thinking of shorting the bottom and continuing to ride the wave. But Tim Grittani said, he explains that in his DVD that how that's not the proper strategy. That will get you burnt because you don't short from the bottom. When you short from the bottom, it's just going to bounce. And I experienced that many times where I shorted from the bottom because sometimes I would see that it would continue to bounce. And sometimes it will continue to bounce. But I've been burnt so many times on shorting the bottom and it bounced back up on me that when it did all of this, I stayed the fuck away. I stayed the fuck away. I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, I could have made what from 41.20 roughly to I could have made almost $2 a share or $3 a share or whatever. But I don't care. That's none of my business. I don't care. So it started uptrending. I'm letting it spike. I'm using these different levels of risk on these perks to tell me if it's gonna burst past it or is it gonna have a hard time breaking past these perk ups. So it starts to uptrend. It breaks past this perk of 39.49, and then it pushes past this perk right here of 40. I'm like, okay, tell me where it's gonna start to struggle at, and then it pushes past the 40 mark right here at this point. And I'm thinking whole dollar, dollar marks. I'm like, okay, whole dollar, $half marks. And I'm like, okay, right here is 41.50 roughly. So I started my short right here. I'm like, there's multiple risk points here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these are multiple risk points. Um, and I saw that it was struggling here, so I took my short here, and um, my risk was for it to go past I think 41.10, and it did, and it went up to 41.26. So I covered. And that was about $150 loss. And I'm like, damn, I can't believe I gave up $150 out of my thousand that I had, or 1,060. I went from 1,060 to 1,025. So what's the math on that? 1,060 minus 925. That's what I ended up having after that trade. 925. I ended up giving back 135. That bothered me just a little bit, but I was like, man, I'm still up on a trade. I got $925 left. If I want to be smart, I can get back in and to give it a shot again. And as I'm trying to short this, it's starting to pull back, and I chased it like an idiot. But that's the biggest thing I struggle with is chasing. And I chased it instead of getting in at $41 or 41.10. I get in at 40.76. So my risk is now instead of 25 cent to 15 cent, my risk became point point that's 0.55. My risk became 0.55, and I went in with 500 shares like an idiot, and that was my risk 275. I went in with 27. My risk was 275 at this point, and that was well beyond what I wanted to risk. Even right here, when I lost 150, that was beyond my risk, but the way I did my stop limit order, it it executed at the highest point, and I didn't want that. Um, but uh, I was like the whole time I'm thinking like, fuck, if I lose and I have to cover exactly at roughly 40, 40. I call it 41.30. That'll be a fucking. I'll end up only coming out this trade of $675 or $625, and I'll practically give up almost half my gains, and I was upset with myself for that. But I had to think it's. I had to be smart with this and had to think this through. And I'm like, if I lower my risk, I might be better, but then that's not accurate. So I just gave it some time, and I'm like, this is a this is what I have to deal with because I failed to follow my rules. So um, I just held on and I waited, and I'm like, at this point, I'm in a hold and hope situation. I'm holding and hoping, and I'm not thinking straight. Um, and it started consolidating, and I knew which way it was gonna go because I've been watching its price action since yesterday, and I saw like how it's gonna react. It was doing this like kind of like a flagpole pattern where it's consolidating, and you can tell which direction it was gonna go because um, it was breaking past these little high points right here, but wasn't really going up higher. So I'm like, okay, this is gonna fail soon. I just need patience. I just need patience. You know, my brother came over. I showed him how much money I'm up so far, and it crashed while he was here. But I've been trying to inspire him to trade, and he's just now getting to it. And as I'm trading, he's watching me make money, and it started crashing. And I'm like, look, I was just up 1,000, and now I'm up an extra 500, and pulled back, started consolidating, and then faded some more. I meant to cover right here, but like I said in the beginning of the video, my stop limit was way too wide, and it covered at the highest point. I could have made an extra $200-300 right here, but I'm glad that I made almost $1,500 today. Uh, it really feels good because now I'm up about 575 plus. I'm up $2,075 for the week. And I'm really feeling good and happy that I'm I'm in that position because I've been just struggling for this whole year, bro. Financially struggling for this whole year, um, with trading, and then not only that, uh, but I've been very undisciplined, and I'm learning from my rules, and I've been very angry with like my mentors because I really need more of their help, and I can't get in person with them, and I've been like really pissed, and I'm like, fuck them boys, and I got to the point where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do this without them. I'm gonna study harder, and I'm gonna learn harder, and I'm gonna succeed without their in-person meetups and their boot camps. Um, and I'm gonna be that guy that traders really need. Like them boys got all the knowledge, but sometimes people need someone physically there to be like, hey, this is the way you do it. You know, instead of and it's good for them to figure it out on their own, but you sometimes people just need um, that exact guidance to be like, hey, this is exactly where you're fucking up. But the videos do that for you. You just gotta watch them over and over. But I just feel like I could have propelled faster if I just had someone to say, hey, focus on no more shorting first green days, or focus on this instead of that. And then you come back to me in a month and let me know what you did. Um, and I think I'm disciplined enough to follow what people say if they talk to me in person. It's harder versus on a video. But I had messaged Huddy on Instagram, and I told him what was going on, and I asked him a question, and he told me to just focus only on first red days. That's overextended. So that really helped. But I decided, you know what? If these guys help me more than just these videos, then I'll take that. But if not, um, I'm gonna do this on my own. I don't need them. I do need them, but I'm not. I don't need all of that. So I'm gonna just commit myself to it without them. But I feel really great and really happy that I'm up over 2K for the week. I came up with this plan on how I can have more free time for myself versus working, um, so that I can focus more on trading and my life and exercising and eating right. Um, so um, I came up with this idea, um, but the only way for it to work is for me to make roughly 2K a month, a minimum of 2K a month in the stock market, but I have to make more just to grow my account. But minimum 2K in my account, I mean in the stock market, just to uh, support my expenses for my life, so that I can spend more time trading. So just seeing that I made, well, if I didn't have this big loss on Monday, just seeing, you know, what I had this week, I would have been up almost 3K this week, but I would be able to fund my expenses and have more time for myself, um, for the week, for the month. But progress, bro, progress. Um, and then that's really what it is. But I think I really did well in this trade. I feel like I really did well in this trade, and where I can improve is the chasing and the covering. If I never chased it, if I never chased it here and here, well, here, I would have done much better. But focusing on first red days only is my key to success. Um, and that's really where I'll succeed. But I traded two um, strategies today, which is shorting the first red day and shorting the bounce on the first red day, and I'm good.